A lot of people have been asking me about the best alternative to Google Optimize in light of the recent announcement from Google that they will be sunsetting, as in removing, Google Optimize and Google Optimize 360 by the end of September 2023. Now, I'm going to be discussing a ton of tools that are available in the marketplace. We'll talk about Optimizely, VWO, we'll talk about ABTesting, Convert, FigPii. Also, there are a couple of tools that we don't use typically on our projects, but some people might be interested in them. So I'm going to be talking about Adobe Test and Target and SiteSpec. Make sure that you stick until the end, where I'm going to share with you the two tools that we use on all of our conversion rate optimization projects. Hello everyone, this is Khalid with Invesp. This channel is all about helping you improve your website conversion rate and make more money online. We do that by sharing the best strategies, tips, and tactics on how to do so. If you are new to this channel, please make sure to subscribe and hit the like button. Let's jump right in. A little bit of brief history around Google Optimize, and you will see why this matters. So Google released Google Optimize back in 2012, and it's been around since then in one shape or another. But this is not the first A/B testing software that Google had actually released. Back in 2007, 2008, Google had released Google Website Optimizer, and that tool is credited with making A/B testing very popular amongst marketers. At some point in 2011, 2012, Google announced that they will be sunsetting Google Website Optimizer, and then they announced the initial version of Google Optimize, which was called back then as Google Content Experiments, and that evolved to Google Optimize and the software that we know nowadays. Now, many marketers are upset with the announcement that Google will be sunsetting Google Optimize and Optimize 360. They did not expect it, although there has been a lot of discussion in the community that Google will be sunsetting Optimize as they roll out GA4. So let's talk about some of the A/B testing platforms available in the marketplace. All of these platforms have very similar capabilities. They allow you to create an A/B test, a split URL test, or a multivariate test. They all allow you to set specific targets for your test, so you can target specific pages. They allow you to create as many goals for the test. They allow you to create different variations or challengers to the control using either a visual editor known as a WYSIWYG, or they allow you to use JavaScript to create those variations. These tools allow you to schedule the test to run at a specific time. They use some sort of a statistical model to determine the winner of a test, and they also show you the result of the test, how different variations are performing, so you can do your own analysis. Some of these tools have been around for a long time. Optimizely, VWO, and Adobe Test and Target have been around for at least 10 to 12 years. I remember using them back in 2009, 2010 to create A/B tests for different sites that we've been working with back then. Some of the other tools are more recent. They've been around since 2014, 2015, ABTesting, Convert, FigPii. In order for you to select the right tool for your site, there are specific requirements that you want to look at. I usually start by asking, are you going to be running any A/B tests on mobile apps? Because not every A/B testing tool supports A/B testing on mobile apps. If that is your goal, then you probably want to be looking at two different platforms, either Optimizely or VWO. Both of those tools allow you to run A/B testing on regular websites in addition to mobile apps. Of course, if you want to use one tool just for your site and a different tool for mobile apps, you can do that. But usually I recommend sticking with one tool. That will make your life tremendously easier, and it will make the life of your developers a lot easier as well. If you are looking for personalization, this is where you personalize the experience of the website for different visitor segments. Then again, I would look at my two favorite tools, Optimizely and VWO. So which tool is better? Is it Optimizely or VWO? Both of these tools have been around for a long time. Both are considered enterprise-grade tools. I've used those tools since they were in beta. I like both of these tools. The price points between them is quite different. Optimizely most of the time is almost twice as expensive as VWO. And mind you, VWO itself is still more expensive compared to the many other A/B testing platforms that are available in the marketplace. I personally find VWO easier to use and more intuitive. I find Optimizely a little bit clunky when it comes to user experience, but again, this varies from one user to the next. Let's say that you do not have a mobile app and you do not need personalization. What is the criteria in that case to select the best tool for your specific situation? So let's talk about point number one, which is performance. Now, think about this when it comes to an A/B testing software. You insert the JavaScript snippet of the A/B testing platform on your website across all the different pages that you want to test. If you are testing a particular page, that page will have to load first, then the A/B testing snippet will have to load, and then your A/B testing variations will load. So why does performance matter? Well, if the A/B testing software has a snippet that is too large or too slow to load, then naturally that will impact the load time of your A/B testing software. I've seen a recent study that compares the load time between the different A/B testing platforms out there. I did not verify it myself, but let me share some of the data that we have seen recently. Here are the fastest experimentation snippets. In number one, FigPii and Google Optimize taken less than 150 milliseconds to load. Number two, Kameleoon takes 345 milliseconds. Number three, VWO taken around 618 milliseconds. Optimizely taken 672 milliseconds. And number five, ABTesting taking close to 1 second, actually 919 milliseconds. If performance matters to you, then clearly there are two winners there. You have to look at either FigPii or Kameleoon. Those are the leaders in the space, with FigPii coming first. For first-time visitors, the first time somebody comes into an A/B test, FigPii takes around 150 milliseconds. On a second page visit, takes less than 50 milliseconds to load your A/B test. Now, remember, we are talking about the load time for the A/B testing software snippet. That is a little different than the load time for the A/B test itself, because the snippet has to load first and then your A/B test code has to load second. If the snippet loads first and it's really fast, however, you have an A/B test that is poorly written, that takes a while to load, then it doesn't really matter which tool you use, because your test will still suffer and people who are coming to your site are going to see the original page first and then the new variation that you've just designed and coded, or poorly coded in this case, will flash in front of them. The second criteria is whether you want to select an A/B testing platform that is a standalone, so it only provides A/B testing software, or do you want to select a conversion optimization platform. How does this matter? If you are going after an A/B testing standalone platform, so Optimizely, Kameleoon, Converts, ABTesting, those are all tools that are a standalone tool. When you install them on your website, you are only getting A/B testing software. However, if you are looking for a full conversion optimization platform, what do I mean by that? You want to get A/B testing software in addition to heat map functionality, session recording functionality, on-site polls, then you want to look at two tools. And the two in that case are VWO, Visual Website Optimizer, and FigPii. By dropping the JavaScript of either of those two tools, you get access to a full suite of conversion optimization tools. Now, this might matter to you or not, because there are some experimentation teams who say, you know what, I just want A/B testing platform. I have other software to collect my heat maps or do the session recording or the on-site polling. So select the right tool based on your specific requirements. Number three is segmentation. So you've ran your test and now you've collected the different performance of the different variations, but it's not enough to look at how each variation performed compared to the original. You want to be able to segment your data. You want to look at this particular variation and how well it performed for organic traffic, for social traffic, maybe for paid traffic, for traffic coming direct or email. Most of these tools provide a certain level of segmentation. My personal favorite, which I find easiest to use, is VWO in this case. Number four is the statistical engine used by the A/B testing software to determine a winner. Now, your A/B testing software will show different variations to different visitors as they come to the website, and then it will collect data for this particular variation. That is the number of visitors, that is the number of conversions. And then the A/B testing software will use some sort of statistical analysis to determine the winner. There are two schools when it comes to determining a winner for an A/B test, either using frequentist statistics or Bayesian statistics. There are battles online. Battles have been there even prior to A/B testing between those two different schools. This is not the place to discuss that. All I can tell you is that most of the A/B testing platforms that are out there are moving towards Bayesian statistics. By using Bayesian statistics and making sure that you are collecting the right data, you have less of a chance of having a false positive. If you don't know what a false positive is, leave a comment and I will respond to that. Number 5 is data accuracy. Now, this is a very difficult one to talk about. Your A/B testing software will take the different variations that you have, and as visitors are coming, they're serving those different variations and they are collecting data. This particular variation saw 1,000 visitors and collected 100 conversions. This second variation saw maybe 1,100 visitors and collected 70 conversions, so on and so forth. You want to make sure that the data is correct. So there is a good practice to send the data that is collected by the A/B testing software to Google Analytics. And in this case, since everybody's moving to GA4, you want to send that data to GA4 and you want to compare the results that are collected in the A/B testing software to the data that is collected in Google Analytics, whether it's universal or GA4. From the get-go, you know that the data is not going to match because the definition of what a user is and what a session is different between those two platforms. However, you want to make sure that the data is very close. So you should be, as an industry standard, with a 95 to 96% match between the two different platforms. This will vary from one tool to the next. I have seen some of the tools that we've mentioned where the data is less than 80% of what we collect in Google Analytics. That worries me. That's the reasons we don't use some of those tools. I don't want to mention a particular name, but you want to make sure to validate the data and make sure that it matches what you have in your analytics software, and preferably it should also match what you are collecting in your platform. So if you are on a Shopify or a Shopify Plus or a BigCommerce, any type of SaaS platform, you want to match that data. Number 6 is where the data is kept. Now, why does that matter? Well, if you are a European company and because of the GDPR rules, and sometimes you might have specific rules and laws specific to your country, you want to have the data to be collected in data centers around Europe. There are some countries and specific industries where there are requirements to have the servers within the same country. So you want to look at where the servers are kept, where the data is kept. If you are an American company and you want to make sure that your data is kept in data centers around the US and that the A/B testing platform is managed by US teams, then your options are Optimizely, VWO, FigPii, Adobe Test and Target, and SiteSpect. There might be other companies in the US, but those are the most famous ones that I know of. Number 7 is integration. Now, some of these platforms have native integration with some of the available e-commerce platforms out there. So you want to check the different tools and whether it has a native integration that allows you to drop in the JavaScript through a native app to your platform without actually having to install the code manually on your website. This is not very critical. However, I would consider it a nice feature. So if you are on a Shopify Plus, you want to look for a tool that has that native integration. If that doesn't matter to you, then you can scrap this whole category altogether. Finally, let's talk about price because gosh, some of these tools can get really expensive. Also, let's talk about the commitment. Some of these tools, especially the larger ones, such as the VWOs and the Optimizely's, convert as well. As far as I know, so I might be wrong, I have not used Convert in a very long time, they ask for an annual commitment. I tend not to like annual commitments, but that again varies from one company to the next. So I like companies that allow me to subscribe, and if I change my mind, then I can say, you know what, this is not working out for me, or the features that you offer are not good for me. The price of these tools varies tremendously. You can expect to start paying around $1,000, maybe a little bit less, 10 or 20% less, for about 1 million visitors. And the price goes up from there. Some of these tools might ask for anywhere between $2,000 to $3,000 per month for 1 million visitors. So make sure that you check the different tools, understand the length of contract that they require and how much they charge you based on the number of monthly visitors that you are getting to your website. See if there are discounts that you can get one way or another. You have to do a little bit of negotiation differentiation there. For those of you who stuck around, I actually have a 9th point. It's a bonus point. We keep it as a secret. Check if the tool that you are considering has any limit on the number of goals or the number of experiments that you can launch. Most of them don't. Some of them, every once in a while, add a new limit. They sneak it into the terms of services without you knowing. So make sure that there are no limits on the number of experiments or the number of goals that you can have within a single experiment. So what is my favorite A/B testing tool? Check the right tool for you. I can tell you that the tools that we use on our projects are one of two tools. So typically for larger clients, we use VWO, Visual Website Optimizer, or we use FigPii that used to be part of our company before it split and has new management. But most of our projects, almost 90% of our projects are split between those two tools. Other CRO agencies love some of the other tools. That's a matter of personal preference. And again, it has to match your business requirements and it has to be at the right price. Adobe Test and Target we've used back in 2009, 2010 when it was a separate company called Omniture until Adobe acquired them. And SiteSpect has been around for a long time. We don't use Adobe Test and Target or SiteSpect on our projects. The challenge that we have with Adobe Test and Target is that the tool has not been updated in a long time. Now, I might be wrong, so if you know that the tool has been updated recently, please leave a comment below. SiteSpect, on the other hand, uses a completely different technology compared to the other tools that I've mentioned in this video. They route the traffic through their servers and they use their servers to serve the different variations in A/B test. The setup with SiteSpect is rather complex, and that's the reason we've never used it on any of our projects. These tools might work for your specific situation, so make sure that you check them out as well. Okay, so we are done. I hope that you found this video helpful. Make sure to like if you enjoyed the content. If there is a question that I did not answer, make sure that you leave it in the comments and I will either record a video to answer your question or I'll answer it directly in the comments. Until next time, happy testing.